Morning, everybody. Welcome to day 4 here of economics, and today we're going to be talking a lot about retirement and saving for retirement. And I thought I'd start right here on the Yahoo Finance page. You can obviously see the market's absolutely getting crushed, and we can talk about some current events here. And it's getting crushed partly because people are not going to work. People are not going out. They're not going to movies. They're not going to restaurants. They're not taking trips. That's why you see gas prices so low, right? People are just not doing anything. Our family's the same way. We're hunkering down here, and we're not spending any money except at the grocery store, right? So we're seeing a lot of companies take a lot of hits. Now, the other day I talked about one of the mistakes an investor makes is that they get pessimistic when times are bad. And remember the advice to say sometimes when times are bad, that's when you need to be a little bit more optimistic, right? We will get through this. It might be a while, but for long-term investing, now is a better time to buy, right? If you're thinking about saving for retirement, or maybe you want to save up. I'm saving for my kids' college. My oldest kid's 8, so I got a lot of time, and we'll get through this. But it could be a while, right? It could be a year, it could be a couple of years. But being a little bit more optimistic now than pessimistic is the key. So I'm not cashing out my 401ks or stop saving for retirement. If anything, I'd like to put more toward it if possible. But you can see the market's really, again, taking a beating here today. But let's talk about retirement. And what I did is I shared something with you on your Google Classroom, a document, and we're going to kind of work through this the next couple of days. Again, you can copy it, and that's what I would do, and just kind of take notes as we go along. Now, you might say, Mr. Misty, what are we talking about retirement for? Retirement's so far away. I'm 15 or 16. I'm still in school. And what you're going to find out here is that you need not necessarily to start thinking about it when you're 15 or 16, but you need to start thinking about when you're 21 or 22. And I'm going to show you a mistake I made by waiting a couple of years and how much money that's going to cost me over time. But what you're going to see me in all these graphs are this key idea right here. It says start early. And I added something here. If you could add that to your notes. Basically, it's sort of like when you get your first job. Now, I don't mean maybe you're cutting grass this summer, or maybe you're working at the local grocery store or waitress. You might say, I'm not planning on doing this. This is a high school job. And that's not what I mean. And when I say first job, I mean kind of like your first career. My career job, I was a teacher. I started when I was 23 years old when I graduated from college. A lot of you are going to college, some of you are not, right? And so when you say, I'm not going to college, I'm going to go work, tool, and die, that's when you need to start saving for retirement, right, at that time. If you go to college and get done, and let's say you're a speech pathologist, that's when you need to start. So when you kind of start to get that first job, in your career. And you're going to see the importance of time. Now, these charts are just compound calculations. There's nothing crazy about this right here. Take a look at this one right here. Okay, this person right here, they're 22 years old. They're going to save for 43 years, and they're going to save $2,000 a year. Now, $2,000 a year is about 180 bucks a month. Not terrible. Okay, expected rate of return 10%. Now, that's a little bit steep, right? As we talked about the other day, if I go back to the market, here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average over the last 25, 30, 40 years, okay? And if you do a geometric average of this, you're looking at roughly 8.5, maybe 9%, depending on what years you go back to. You can see there's been a bad year in 2018 and one in 2015. Those things just happen. 2020 is going to be brutal, right? Similar to 2008, you can see what happened there in 2008. So, but if you do an average here of all these, you're looking at really 8.5. So that, again, might be a little bit steep right here, but let's just assume that that's what it is. Your account value at retirement, $1.184 million. Now, that's a lot of money. Okay? You can probably retire fairly comfortably, do the things that you want to do at the age of 65. Let's say you wait a year. Okay, you do a gap year. You say, I'm just going to, not worry about it for a year. Well, it's not going to kill you, right? Okay, you got to save an additional $200. Again, not too bad, but that's an additional $200 every year all the way to the age of 65. Let's say you wait till you're 30. So I'm just, Mr. Steves, this thing isn't for me. I'm not going to worry about. Holy cow. Now you got to save more than double. And that's double every year from the age of 30 to 65. 35 years of saving more than double what I did, because I started at the age of 22, now I didn't, and I'll explain that. I'll cry later. If you wait till you're 37, oh my goodness gracious, look how much more money you have to put in to get to that same point. You got to put in $8,000, almost $9,000 into that. That's again every year for those 28 years that you have to do that, compared to the person that simply started earlier. Scroll down here a little bit, right? Take a look at this person on the left. We'll call him Ryan, okay? Ryan was pretty smart, right? Age 23, $1,000 his first year. It's not too bad. It's not even $100 a month. Second year he put in 2,000. Good for him. Okay, nothing crazy. All right. Third year he puts in 3,000. Now you're talking about $250 a month. For 10 years he does that. Okay, so 1,000, 2,000, etc. And then just lets it ride in the market. And in the market itself, it continues to grow about 10% every year. Again, there's nothing complicated. It's just compound interest. Look how much money he has at the age of retirement, $1.157 million. Now, again, that's for 45 years of growth. And the other important part here is if you look at the end, this is where you see all your growth, right? $100,000 if you're getting 10% in your last few years, okay? His initial investment, $27,000. That's it. Let's call this guy over here John. John, not so smart. Okay, John waits. Decides, this retirement thing isn't really for me. I like to work, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, now again, here's John. He starts at the age of 33, starts putting in $3,000 a year. So he's doing this for all 34 years, all the way up to the age of 67. Look at this. He can't even get there. All right, he missed out on those 10 years. You can again begin to see the importance of starting early. Look at this graph right here. Age 21, $100 a month. What you put in, total investment $24,000. It grows. Doesn't grow crazy in the beginning, right? And then as time goes on, it exponentially grows. That's what we mean. And we're going to do some formulas here in just a couple minutes to see how much money you would have at the age of retirement simply because you saved during this. Now again, 8%, that seems to be a little bit more realistic. This person over here waited to the age of 47, probably similar to a lot of the age of your parents right now. If your parents haven't saved for retirement yet, they're behind the game. All right. If you're 30 and you haven't thought about it, you're behind. So you can see at the age of 47, $100 a month. They can't get there. They're not going to be able to retire. They're not going to be able to do the things. Now again, retirement doesn't mean you just simply stop working. My parents, for example, were able enough to save for retirement, and sure enough, they travel and do fun things, but they also volunteer a lot for churches, and they've been volunteering all over the globe recently as missionaries, and so that's just kind of what they do. Here's another one, right? The advantage is saving $300 a month. Now again, my $300 a month coming out of the gate when you're 22, 23, and you're paying off college loans, and you're maybe renting an apartment, that's a lot of money, and it's really hard. My first job, I was making $1,600 a month, and I got to save $300. Holy cow, that's a lot of money. I had college loans, and I wanted to buy a car. It's hard, but if you stick with it, here's a person started at the age of 25, 8% return, right? For 40 years, you're going to get to $1 million. Again, 8% seems to be a little bit more realistic. Somebody that waited till the age of 35, you can't even get halfway. It's too late. Now, you better put the pedal to the metal here, but you're still behind the game. Now, again, this looks to be about $450,000. That's a lot of money. You might be able to make that work, but remember, at the age of 65, you're expected to live probably another 20 years. You got to live off that money for 20 years. You might have to be doing some work. At the age of 45, you're just simply you can't even get to 100. You can't even get to a fifth of the way of where I started at the age of 25. And how about 55? Forget about it. You're going to have to keep working. So, as I said, I made a mistake. When I graduated from Calvin College at the age of 23. I moved out to California, taught in a small school in San Diego for a couple of years, and I knew, just like you all know, that I needed to save for my retirement. And at the age of 23, I walked into the office of our school, looked at their retirement plan, got the information, got a phone number to call, and I never simply made the phone call. Now again, I'm going to talk about how much money that costs me in the long run. If you take a look, okay, so and then at the age of 25, I started here at South Christian, and I started working, and I finally got my act together and started saving for retirement. Okay, putting a couple $100 a month away, and it's more now, but I'm on pace kind of to about right here. Okay, at the age of 65 in 2043, I'm going to look to retire and have about $1 million. All right. Again, that's a good money. That's a decent amount of money. I should probably be okay to, at the age of 65, my kids are out of the house. I don't have a mortgage anymore. Obviously, no more school debt. We should be okay, right? Again, had I started at the age of 23, like I'm supposed to do, and the mistake that I made, and don't worry, I'm just tearing up over here a little bit. Again, the idea would be that I would have that amount of money now at 63, right? Okay, 40 years, I got $1 million. Now from 63 to 65, my money is still growing, correct? Right? I got 2 more years at 8%, correct? Right? If I go back, now again, the hope is that you're in the market. Maybe you get a year like last year, 22. But on average, right? If I had 2 more years at 8%, how much more additional money would I have? So for example, all right, here's $1 million. Okay, times 1.08. Okay, for an additional 2 years. Oh my goodness. I missed out on $166,000 simply because I did not make that phone call and start those 2 years earlier. Now, if you don't think $166,000, I don't know what world you're living in, but that's a lot of money. That was a mistake that I made, and thankfully it's coming in handy for this lesson, but that's about it. If I go back, right, so again, I'd have roughly, $161, sorry, I missed out on $166,000. Mistake, yeah, I regret it, right? Okay. There's some other mistakes you can make too, and I'll share those with you in just a second. Now, again, you're all 15. Probably shouldn't be thinking about retirement, but again, the idea would be here that you would have this money now at 55, right? This is 40 years. You're going to have $1 million if you were to start today. Now, if you go back, now you've got $1 million, but you're not ready to retire yet. You're only 55. You might have 10 more years of working at 8%. If your money's still growing at 8% for 10 years. Holy cow, how much money are you going to have simply because you started 10 years ahead of me? Remember, you can't take back your youth, right? If you start when you're 30 or 35, you're not going to get there. It's impossible. The earlier you start, the better. Now, again, 15 is hard to do. You guys all probably don't work, or maybe you got a part-time job and you got other expenses. And again, the rule of thumb is that you should start when you are getting your first real job. But if you had $1 million at the age of 55 now, which means you got 10 years on me, you get an additional 1.08 to the power of 10. Oh my goodness, you're going to see how much money you have here. It's going to be crazy, right? You're looking at more than double what I have, right? $2.16 million is what you would have simply for adding on those 2 years. All right, you have more than doubles. Those last 10 years are where you really start to make it up. Now, let's say you're like, Mr. Vince, I'm a little nervous about the market. Okay, you see these big drops right now, and I just want to put it somewhere safe. Okay, so let's say that you saved in your 20s, okay, and you got up and you saved $200,000 by $200,000 by the age of 30. Okay, good job, Ryan. You really pumped your 401k. We'll talk about what that is later. You really did some due diligence there, and you really did a good job. Great job. All right, and so now you're 30, and you're going to retire at the age of, let's say you want to retire at the age of 60. Okay, so you've got this $200,000, and you are going to go ahead and put it in somewhere safe. Okay, maybe you found a bank there that's going to offer you 2%. All right, so 1.02 to the power of 30. Right? Okay, so 30 years, you're going to keep it somewhere safe. If I go back up here to your scientific calculator, okay, and you saved up, what was it, $200,000, right? Heck, that's a lot of money by the time you're 30. It's really hard to do, okay? But you're gonna go ahead and take that, and you're gonna put it somewhere safe, right? And in a bank. And for the next 30 years, you're gonna keep it relatively safe. Okay. You're scared about the volatility. Okay, that's fine. All right, not bad, right? You're up to 362,000. That's probably not enough to retire on. You're probably gonna have to work some more. That's a decent amount of money, but remember, you're gonna live for 20, maybe 30 years. You're gonna have a lot of other expenses in there too. Okay. Had you gone back, right, and put it in the market, let's go back here. You got $200,000. Okay, not 2 million. There we go. $200,000. Now you're back into the market, right? Okay, for the next 30 years. Okay, before I go back, right, let me go back to this chart again that we looked at earlier. Okay, look at all these numbers here from the 90s. You're going to have some bad times. You have to be able to put up with it. Look at 2008. I mentioned this. People cashed out in 2008. No, 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 no. If you did, you missed out on this rebound. You missed out on this, you know, a couple even smaller bad years. You missed out on these really rough, you know, missed out on these really good years where the average is at 8%. So if I go back now, oops, to my calculator, now I'm talking for 30 years. Remember how much money you had? If you put it in the bank at 2%, you're looking at 362,000. Here, look how much more money you'll have. You're talking about $2 million, simply because you're able to handle the ups and downs of the market over those 30 years. Big difference? Yeah, you're retiring very comfortably. You're going to do the things that you want to do at the age of 60, 65. The other person right there is probably going to still have to work because they were a little bit of a nervous Nelly. You got to be able to withstand that market. Last thing I want to talk about here is the importance of starting early. And I just wanted to share one example of about a young man back in 2007. Economics was an elective course then, and in 2007 he graduated. He was going into excavating. And he came back and saw him at a basketball game, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Steve, started my 401k." I said, "Hey, good for you. You know, he's 19, he's not going to college. That's what he wanted to do." A few years go by, and about 2013, 2014, I had his younger brother, and I said, "Hey, text your brother, see how much money he has in his 401k." And so his brother, at the age of 25, had roughly $250,000 saved up in a 401k. Wow, that's incredible, right? That's a great job. From 19 to 25, he was just really pumping his 401k. Now you got to remember, he started in 07, 08. The market was at the bottom. He had a lot of growth there. Good for him. Okay, let's say he wants to retire at the age of 60, right? 60 is a pretty good age to retire. So again, let's say he doesn't put another dime in there. Remember, okay, you're not adding to it, nothing. Got $25,000. He's going to go ahead and put it in the market over the years, roughly 8% return, you know, for 35 years. Oops, right? He's going to retire. This is, again, he's not adding anything. It's just growing and growing at 8%. So if we go back to our scientific calculator and we go ahead and plug in something like 250,000, okay, 8%, 35 years, right? Okay. Again, he's looking at roughly $3.7 million. Okay, that's again him not doing anything from the age of 25 to 60. Nothing. Okay, he's just watching it grow. He's going to be just fine because he started early. Now, he's looking at his 401k statements today and he might be crying. Okay, but he's still only 30 years old. He's got 30 more years to go. And as if you remember from the beginning of this video, that we're going to get through this. It's going to be a couple of bad years. I don't know. I really don't know. Might be just a bad month. Okay, but we're going to get through it and the market will rebound down the stretch. That's it for today. All right, we're going to get to these notes later on in this other chart here earlier. Okay, we're talking about what are these 401ks and pension plans and that kind of stuff. There's a mutual fund there. We'll talk about that. This is also a video I'm going to ask you to watch. And again, copy this and then fill in the answers but that won't be due till Monday. All right, so, and I'll talk about how much I expect due for Monday. All right, so there's no homework today. I just asked you to watch this video and make sure you jot down a couple things here on this sheet that I filled out today. Hope you guys have a great day. Email me if you got any questions.